This game was supposed to be legendary because the studio behind it was the same studio that once took Batman games to the top. But this time, everything went wrong. Welcome to Game History Labs. This is where we explore the biggest failures and the strangest stories in gaming history. Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League created massive hype when it was first announced because this game was being developed by Rocksteady, the studio behind the Arkham series. So the expectations from players were incredibly high. Everyone was thinking the same thing. The studio that made the Batman Arkham games, how could they possibly make a bad game? When the first trailers were released, the game looked very impressive. Fast-paced gameplay, chaotic combat, and the idea of fighting against the Justice League caught people's attention. But as time went on, players started becoming suspicious about certain things because the game was starting to look less like a superhero game and more like an ordinary live service game. And then, the game was finally released. But this was not what players were expecting. The mission structure was repetitive, enemy variety was lacking, and the game had turned into a system that constantly demanded grinding. But the biggest problem was that the game had lost its soul, because people were expecting a new Arkham-level experience. But what they got instead was an ordinary shooter filled with loot systems, and the internet reacted very harshly. Especially the way Batman was used in the game became a huge controversy. Many players thought Rocksteady had destroyed its own legacy, and the criticism grew very quickly. Player numbers started dropping, people abandoned the game, and at a very short time, Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League started being called one of the biggest disappointments of 2024. So what went wrong? First of all, the game went in the wrong direction. People were expecting a strong, story-driven Batman universe, but the game turned itself into a live service system. Secondly, players got tired of the repetition very quickly, and perhaps the biggest problem was that the game constantly felt focused on making money. A battle pass system, cosmetics, and an always online structure. According to many players, these things came before the fun of the game itself. But perhaps the biggest problem with this game was the expectations, because people were expecting a next-generation Arkham experience. But what they got instead was something completely different. The result? The trust Rocksteady had built over the years was heavily damaged, and Suicide Squad became one of the most controversial failures in gaming history. Sometimes a big studio, a big brand, and a massive budget are not enough for success, because once you lose the players' expectations, you can lose everything. Thank you for watching the video until the end. If you enjoyed this video, I recommend checking out the other videos on our channel. Do you think Suicide Squad really deserved to fail? Which game should we cover in the next video? Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. For more gaming stories, don't forget to subscribe to Game History Labs.